Josh, this one's for you. Where do you see the industry in the next 5 to 10 years? And what are the most critical changes necessary to face the future effectively?
Lower interest rates, Steve.
Yeah. Yeah, we could work on that.
No,
But besides that,
I think it's even a good start, like with us up here. The next generation, it's important to, I think, make farming appealing to people our age again, and enjoyable, and that they want to come do it, and make it fun again, in the sense of just to have that pull and that lifestyle. That's what drew me in. Growing up on a farm, that's all I wanted to do for the rest of my life, and hope I can continue to do that. And having that experience, I think, and showing just other parts of the industry, and just what farming really is, and just getting it out there, I guess, more. I don't know.
okay. Erin?
I think probably my perspective of the industry is probably a little different than other producers, because I am a producer and processor. We've seen massive support and growth in demand for local processed dairy products. It is a major challenge to be an on-farm processor within our current system. I'd really hope that we can see some improvement towards just making that a bit easier within the system, as well as seeing the growth in the industrial side that we need to see as an industry as a whole. So yeah, like I think there's major potential for dairy, and I do think something like more on-farm processing throughout the province. We're a good sort of poster child for the industry, to be honest. And like we have thousands of people show up to our farm, show up like when we let our cows out and things. So it's like, I think we can all work really well together. I would really love to see some improvements in how our system functions so that we see growth on both sides.
Is that not a great answer, or what? I said, is that not a great answer, or what? We'll wake up the crowd here. Doug?
Oh, yeah. I see a lot of growth in the industry for young farmers, especially. Sadly, the trend is there's a lot of farms that are selling out, and the times are hard right now. But, when it's hard, that's when you get into it, and then times will be good, and then times will go down again, and up and down, up and down. But yeah, farming's a little unpredictable that way. But another big trend I see in the next 5 to 10 years is just technology. It's just advancing through the roof. AI, I think that's going to help make a lot more decisions on farm. And you just got to embrace change. Lots of farmers are stuck in their ways. So
No.
yeah, I know.
I haven't seen that in my career at all.
So I hope the farmers can see the benefit in technologies, because that will definitely increase efficiencies. And yeah, and I also see a lot of growth in the sense of processing capabilities in the Western Milk Pool. I do think there's going to be some allotments out there for any producers here. So I think it's going to be quite exciting.
I hear there's another plant maybe down the road, right? That would, do well for the producers. I like how you touched on, attracting the youth to the industry. I mean, economics aside, let's look at the lifestyle that you're able to provide for your families. The hurdle is working the 7 days a week versus your buddies 5 days a week and weekends off, right? So it's great to see that this generation recognizes that and is willing to work through that. So that's awesome. Great answers on all your parts. And you talk about technologies. Just prior to coming up here, you were on your phone to what's the names of your robots?
I have my robots named Deborah and Karen because they always want to speak to a manager.
There you go. So
it makes it slightly better when they call at 2 a.m. and it comes up as Deborah and Karen. And
yeah,
give you a little giggle.
That's awesome. I guess you didn't want to give a man's name, or just Deb and Karen. Do you have names for your robots?
No.
Okay, well, thanks for those answers. That's awesome. I'm going to start with you, Doug, on this next one. How are we doing for time, Krista? All right, good. Pardon me? It says I'm ahead of the game. It's awesome. So we can have fun. What advice would you, Doug, give to aspiring dairy farmers or those looking to improve their existing operations?
Say that again.
Were you looking at Megan there and we lost you
Yeah,
or
got
what?
distracted. Yeah.
Shall I repeat the question? What is, Megan, you want to answer this question for him? What advice would you give to aspiring dairy farmers or those looking to improve their existing operations?
Oh, kind of like what I was touching on there. Embrace change. Always be looking for efficiencies. So, I mean, there's some things where you can spend money and it doesn't pay back, and there's other options that definitely do. So, kind of, I don't know, look at technologies that will help you in your scenarios. But I know, like, someone like my dad would never embrace robotics, and I wouldn't recommend it for him because it just doesn't want that change. But
He's Dutch, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He doesn't even have a
I'm
phone.
Dutch too. I could say that.
Yeah. So yeah.
Okay. Josh?
Yeah, I think, you know, for, you know, to, what was the question again?
See, I see the attention span is like this short. What advice would you, Josh, give to aspiring dairy farmers or those looking to improve their existing operations?
Yeah, looking to improve. I mean, just honestly, you know, really enjoy it. Enjoy what you're doing. Enjoy going to work every day. And like Doug was saying before, there's you're always rolling through it with ups and downs and stuff. So there's always you know, a bright end at the tunnel, I think, if you're going through crappier times or anything. But that's my biggest thing, is just go to work with a smile on your face, even though sometimes there's some bitch heifers out there, but
Okay, we can go with that. Erin?
Yeah, I think for me, the big thing is the not being afraid to sort of look outside the box. I know we used to sort of always joke on the farm that like if the neighbors were confused about what we were doing something wrong. And I tend to try and like, yeah, push the envelope a little bit and doing things differently. Or like we interact with our consumers a lot because our farm is open. And sort of, I was always giving the same answers to questions of why I did certain things, and then started to be like, well, actually, that maybe doesn't make sense. And like I've transitioned to nurse cows, which has been really great for us and our like interaction with the public, and for me that I don't have to feed calves twice a day. But yeah, so just being willing to like look completely outside the box of the way we've normally done things, or yeah, and try new things.
Yeah, those are great answers. And then we are a little bit ahead of time, so I could throw in my own, right? All right. So you weren't prepared for this one, but I will ask it. Doug? What's the one thing that your dad did on the farm that you totally disagreed with and you would said you would never do with your farm?
Oh wow.
How's that for a curveball?
Yeah. What my dad wouldn't do.
Yeah, anything that something that you disagreed with your dad and how he ran his farm that you thought you would do different.
Jersey cows. Yeah, I think that was the breed of choice for me. I do think that's the way the market's trending, you know, high components, and I just find them really resilient, and longevity on them's been pretty good. So, I mean, I'm only a year in, so I don't really know how that will turn out, but it's definitely interesting because I see my financial numbers and he sees, or his, so I can compare his, you know, per cow, how much they're making versus my per cow. And it's going to be interesting seeing how that evolves over the years to see what is actually the breed of choice in today's market.
Right. So does your dad measure dry matter intake daily like you do?
Well, it depends if I do it for him.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
So unless you do it, it's not done.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
okay. Josh, I know your dad's in the audience.
One specific big thing, I don't really know. I mean, we can have our little standoffs each day and we'll go do it our own way and see who's right, and whoever is gets a laugh at the end of the day, I guess. But like I said, we do get along really, really well, which makes farming pretty easy with each other. So I wouldn't say anything's too big. I mean, then again, I'm still on his farm, so I kind of have to agree with him a little.
That was a very safe answer, Josh. You're a sales rep too, right? So you know how to skirt through that. Okay.
I can talk.
Erin?
I'd say for me, something on the farm side, I don't know if it really counts as like a major thing, but a lot of our barns were laid out for my parents to work together. So a lot of things were laid out for there to be two bodies. And so once I fully took over in 23, I've added a bunch of gates and things so that I can work cows alone. Because I don't have someone that can move cows for me like my dad did. So that's been a change. And then on the processing side, I've kind of leaned more into the social media and that sort of marketing. We never did that before. And it's a pretty cheap and easy way to get information about your products out, and it have finally launched a website. We've been processing since 2007, and I launched the website like 2 months ago.
Well,
So
social media is social media is very new, right? So yeah,
yeah.
I can
But, like,
understand.
we didn't have a website.
You do have a
Well,
website.
we do now, but like we didn't have social media, but we also didn't have a website that worked.
What's it called? Get your plug in.
KootenayMeadows.ca. That's the website.
Well, you can promote it. What
Yeah.
was it?
KootenayMeadows.ca.
KootenayMeadows.ca. And how many different types of cheeses are you making right now?
We are making 5 different kinds of cheese right now. So we make 3 raw Alpine style cheeses that are aged a minimum of 60 days because they're made with raw milk. So one's similar to a Fontina, one is similar to a Gruyere, and one is similar to a Grana, though I'm not technically allowed to use most of those names because they're all AOC. So they're protected. And then we make a traditional Scottish crowdie, which is similar to like a quark or a cream cheese. And we make that in plain and herb and garlic. And then we also make cheese curds, and we make a bit of young cheddar as well.
And you brought samples for everybody today, right?
It didn't fit in my carry-on.
I asked that question because, you know, I'm born and raised on a dairy farm as well. And I remember when I wanted to put the herd on test, and we had pushback. My dad, I love him, he passed away a few years ago, but he wasn't a dairy farmer. Mom was a dairy farmer of the two, and he just couldn't understand why we'd want to put the herd on test. And I wanted to. So, and that was a bit of an issue for him, right? So, so thank you for sharing that. Now we're going to get into the farming for love aspect.